All right, welcome back. Lesson 2 of the second to last week in the quarter and the semester. All right, so today we're going to talk about taking an equation that's in standard form and converting it to slope-intercept form. But before we do that, let's just look at the two types of equations and how we graph them. Okay, so if we notice the left-hand equation is in standard form, so we can graph that using our x and y intercept. So I'm going to make my table, and I'm still going to do this where I highlight what I'm looking for. Okay, and then remember, when I have zero values, it makes terms disappear. So the 0 is in the y column, so that means the 4y is going to go away. So all I have to do is solve negative 5x equals negative 40. And I'm going to divide by negative 5. And any negative divided by a negative is going to be positive, so I have positive 8. So I can put an 8 in that column. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the x equals 0, which means the negative 5x will disappear. So I'm going to solve 4y equals negative 40, and then just divide by 4. In this case, I'm dividing a negative by a positive, so that means my answer is going to be negative, and it's going to be negative 10. Okay, so there we go. And remember, I just have to plot those 2 points. So the first one, the x value is 8, so I can go ahead and plot that at 8. The second one, the y value is negative 10, so oops, I'm going to have to move down there. And then I just connect those dots. Whoops, I didn't hold it to let the line draw a nice straight line. That's okay. It still works. All right, second one. So the second one, we have to kind of think back a little bit because we haven't done this in a little while. But we are going to be graphing this equation, and it's in slope-intercept form. So remember, when we graph in slope-intercept form, we graph the y-intercept, and notice the negative 10 and the negative 10 in our table over here. They're the same because they're the y-intercept. So I'm going to graph that point negative 10, and then I'm going to use my slope to create more points. And I'm going to make several just so you can see what's going to happen here. So my slope is telling me to go up 5 and over 4. So I'm going to go up 5 over 4, make a point there. And then I'm going to go up 5 again and over 4. And what you're going to notice is that I ended up, in this case, at my x-intercept. Okay, so I can see I'm at the same point as I am in the other graph. And in this case, it works. It's not always going to work, but in this case, it does. So here we go. And the graphs look the same. The only difference is we have an extra point on the right-hand side because we used our slope to find more points, and our slope is 5 over 4, so we couldn't go the whole way, all the way up to that x-intercept. All right, and I think I've just told you what the question down below. What do we notice? They are the same. Although they were in different forms, they are the same equation. Okay, so if we look at these two examples, whoops, these are the exact same equation, one written in standard form and one written in slope-intercept form. All right. So that means that we can take any equation in standard form and convert it so it's in slope-intercept form. And I'm just going to show you a couple of examples here, and I think it should make sense. So if we want to convert to slope-intercept form, that means we need to get y by itself. So we want something that starts with y equals. And we want the mx plus b, right, to be on the right-hand side. So basically, I need to get that x term over to the right-hand side, and then I need to get rid of the 8. All right, so if I want to move that x term, and if it's positive, or if it's negative 3x, I need to add 3x to both sides. Okay, so now I have 8y equals 72 plus 3x. And then I need to get rid of the 8. So I'm going to divide everything by 8. Okay, and when I divide by 8, I end up with y equals 9 plus, I can't simplify 3 over 8, and I don't want you to grab a calculator and do that because it's our slope, so we're going to leave it in the form of a fraction. 3 over 8x. But then you'll notice something that's wrong about this equation. You'll notice that the x term is on the right-hand side here, but the x term is in the middle in y equals mx plus b. So all we have to do is move the x term and that plus sign. But in this case, I'm not going to write the plus sign because we never write the plus sign before things that are positive. We just assume that they're positive. So I'm just going to switch the order of the two things on the right-hand side. So y equals 3 over 8x plus 9. All right. It's plus 9 because it's positive 9. Now, hopefully this next one will give us some minus signs. If it does, it'll make my day. All right, here we go. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to turn this one into slope-intercept form. So that means we have to solve for y. We have to get y by itself. So I see a positive 2x, so I'm going to subtract 2x. And then, yeah, this one will be okay. So when I subtract 2x, I end up with, be careful here, it's negative 3y equals 18 minus 2x. Then I divide by negative 3. Okay, so I end up with y equals negative 6. And this is kind of a tricky one because it's minus 2x, and we're dividing by a negative number. So essentially, it's two negative numbers. So that means it's going to change to plus 2/3 x. All right, and then this is a good example because I'm going to move this again, but then I have to also move that including the minus sign, right? So I'm going to now write it as y equals 2/3 x minus 6. Okay, so this is a good example because I moved the 2/3 x, but I didn't write the plus sign in front of it because we just don't do that. And then, but I moved the 6, but I need to remember to move the minus sign as well. So, or the negative sign in this case. The negative sign becomes a minus sign. Kind of a weird thing. I don't care what you call it, but technically, where it's highlighted red, it's a negative sign. And where it's down in the final equation, it's a minus sign. There's a difference. Okay, so you have how many? 2 examples or 2 problems to do on your own. So go ahead and convert the equations from standard form to slope-intercept form by simply solving for y. And when you're done, we'll go over a couple of additional examples for you. All right, here we go. I think, yeah, we just have 2 more. 2 more examples. So the first one, 2x minus 6y equals 24. So all we have to do is subtract 2x from both sides. And then, gosh, there's something we could do first here. No, let's just keep going. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So I end up with negative 6y equals 24 minus 2x. And then I divide by negative 6. Yeah, there's something we're going to have to do here, which is great, because it's something we'll have to do in the future at some point probably. So we end up with y equals negative 4. They're both negative, so it's plus 2 over 6x. What's your guess? What do we have to do now? You're right. We have to flip them around. So I'm going to take this and move it to the right, or to the left, I mean, and this is going to go to the right. All right, so I have y equals 2 over 6x minus 4. And then are we done? Nope, we're not. You're correct. We have to simplify that 2 over 6. So 2 over 6, we can divide 2 by 2 and get 1, and we can divide 6 by 2 and get 3. So we have to simplify this thing to y equals 1/3 x minus 4. Okay, so something to watch out for. We're going to have situations where our slope needs to be simplified. So make sure you do that. Well, let's see what kind of surprises the next one has for us. Oh, I'm going to guess more simplifying. And the reason I'm going to guess that is because we have 3 even numbers here, 6, 8, and 88. So let's go ahead and add 6x to both sides because it's negative. We want to add 6x. So we end up with 8y equals negative 88 plus 6x. Divide by 8. So we end up with y equals negative 11 plus 6 over 8x. Okay, so I need to move some stuff around. So I'm going to move the negative 11 to the right, the positive 6 over 8x to the left. So we have y equals 6 over 8x minus 11. And then in this case, the 6 and the 8 are both divisible by 2. So we divide by 2 and we divide each one of those numbers by 2 and we get 3/4 x minus 11. All right, I'm guessing that you're going to have some simplifying to do. And it looks like you will. All right, so you have 2 more to do here. When you're done with those 2, make sure you enter your answers in Schoology.